Hello, everyone. Today we will be presenting our project on securing medical record systems by separating authentication and encryption. This approach helps protect both patient identities and the actual medical files, even if one part of the system is compromised. The presentation is based on our research paper where we looked at the current issues, existing solutions, and the system we designed. Healthcare data is extremely sensitive. Medical records reveal personal details, diagnosis, treatment history, and more. So protecting this information is crucial. The World Health Organization defines healthcare data privacy as ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and availability of patient information. This means people's data must not only remain private, but must remain accurate and accessible only to the right individuals. Because medical practices involve legal and ethical responsibilities, we need strong, scalable systems that prevent breaches. Medical data requires even more protection than many other types of data because of how sensitive it is. A person's full identity and health history can be misused in many damaging ways if breached. Hospitals and medical organizations also face legal obligations and ethical duties to protect this data. At the same time, any security solution needs to be scalable and affordable so it can be used across many hospitals, not just large institutions. As medical records move towards digital platforms, the chances of breaches have increased. Regulations like HIPAA in the US and GDPR in Europe help, but they are often reactive. Many healthcare systems still struggle with strong enforcement, especially as attacks become more sophisticated. So even though we have rules in place, the systems themselves are still vulnerable. To understand the scale of the problem, we look at real cases. The Anthem medical breach exposed data from 78 million people. Things like names, birth dates, and even social security numbers. This happened simply because someone obtained the database manager's login. The WannaCry attack hit the UK National Health Service, shutting down services and locking medical systems for ransom. These events show how severe the consequences can be and why new solutions are needed.
So for our literature review, we reviewed existing methods as well as the current systems in place. So for example, regulations tend to improve protections, but they're created after major incidents. We also found that many systems combine authentication and encryption too closely. So if one part is compromised, like a password, attackers often gain access to the encrypted data. So our research focuses specifically on separating these layers so they can remain secure independently. So some of the existing security models we found through our research in healthcare includes the Smart on FHIR, which uses authentication tokens created from the client and receives these tokens for medical API. We reviewed attribute-based encryption, which grants access based on user roles and attributes, like giving blood work doctor access only to blood test results. Proxy re-encryption, which allows sharing encrypted data without ever decrypting it. These methods are useful, but they have weaknesses, especially when authentication and encryption are closely tied together. Our system takes the best ideas while keeping authentication and encryption independent. Our proposed solution involves building a multi-layered system where authentication and encryption are separated. This means even if an attacker steals login credentials, they still can't access encrypted medical data. And if someone gains access to the medical data storage, They can't connect it to the identities or decrypt the files. This separation creates stronger, more reliable security. Our system architecture for authentication uses a three-factor system. This includes social security, PIN, and a password. Each one is hashed using SHA-256. SHA-256 is a cryptographic hashing method that creates a very strong one-way hash values, meaning even if someone sees the hash, they can now reverse it to get the original value. This gives us multi-layer protection because an attacker must compromise three different hash credentials, not just one password. For encryption, we use AES-256 through the Fernet library. Each medical record gets its own randomly generated encryption key. This is important because when one key is compromised, it won't affect the other files. These encryption keys are completely separate from the authenticated data. That means even if a patient resets their password or PIN, the medical files don't need to be re-encrypted, and the data is always going to be safe. This separation gives us several advantages. Authentication credentials can change without ever touching the encrypted files. Even if an attacker gains somebody's social security, PIN, or password, they still can't decrypt the records because the keys are independent. Patients can recover lost credentials without putting medical data at risk, and all files use unique random keys, which limits the damage of any potential breach.
We implemented role-based access control using the principle of least privilege. Patients and doctors see different interfaces and have different permissions. Patients can log in using three authentication factors, view their own records, reset their PIN through email, and securely log out. Doctors, on the other hand, can register new patients, encrypt medical files, and view a list of patients. This ensures that each role only has access to what it truly needs. To make the system persistent across sessions, we store patient information and encryption keys in JSON files. This is efficient, scalable, and works well for testing. It also follows HIPAA recommendations for secure storage. Using JavaScript for the data layer allows real-time updates and prevents tampering by validating input and making sure the data stays structured and secure. The system is built using three Python files: authentication, encryption, and the main system file. Authentication handles hashing and login processes. The encryption file runs AES-256 encryption and decryption. The main system brings everything together into an interactive menu that lets us test doctor and patient features. Overall, the design shows how separating encryption from authentication improves both usability and security. Our results show that the system works exactly as intended. Authentication and encryption operate independently. Patients can change passwords and PINs without affecting encrypted data. Even if credentials are stolen, the encryption still protects all files because the encryption keys are separate. Each medical file uses a different random key, following HIPAA's best practices for medical data protections. This slide shows the core idea of the system. Authentication proves identity and can be changed easily. Encryption protects data and does not change. Because these two systems don't depend on each other, compromising one does not compromise the other. This is the main strength of the architecture and what makes it more secure than many current healthcare systems. In conclusion, the system effectively secures medical records by using strong authentication and independent encryption. It provides confidentiality, integrity, and accessibility while staying user-friendly for both doctors and patients. Separating authentication from encryption significantly limits the damage of breaches and creates a more resilient healthcare system. This approach has the potential to improve future medical security across many types of hospitals and organizations.
We thank you for your time, for taking in the information that we presented, and we hope you learned something.